Now, a group of political leaders discuss issues in the upcoming election and their hopes for bipartisanship. Speakers include former U.S. Senator David Boren, New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and former New Jersey Governor Christie Todd Whitman. This is an hour 15 minutes.
Thank you very much. Welcome to all of you. The University of Oklahoma is honored to be the setting of this forum dedicated to the restoration of bipartisanship in the political arena. Over this past year, the university has focused on the presidency as an institution. We have hosted presidential historians David McCullough, Doris Kearns Goodwin, and Michael Beschloss, former President George Bush Sr., White House Chiefs of Staff Ken Duberstein for Ronald Reagan, and the late Jack Valenti for Lyndon Johnson. We've invited all presidential candidates in both parties to visit us. One has already come, and we hope that others will come in the days ahead. Today, we welcome a group of outstanding public servants, women and men who have served their country well with decades of combined experience. I will introduce them in alphabetical order, and please hold your applause and welcome them when all have been introduced. The President of the Center for the Study of the Presidency, Dr. David Absher. The Mayor of New York City, Mayor Michael Bloomberg, an independent. Former Republican National Chairman and U.S. Senator from Tennessee, Bill Brock, a Republican. Former U.S. Senator from Maine and former Secretary of Defense, Bill Cohen, a Republican. Former U.S. Senator from Missouri, Jack Danforth, a Republican. President of the Eisenhower Group, Susan Eisenhower, a Republican. The former governor and U.S. Senator from Florida, Bob Graham, a Democrat. U.S. Senator from, and I apologize for the misprint to the press, it says Iowa, Nebraska. It's hard for us to write that. I'm just kidding. We have great admiration, even in the midst of our rivalry.
I'm leaving.
Our unity has already been breached. Chuck Hagel, a Republican. Former U.S. Senator from Colorado, Gary Hart, a Democrat. The former governor of Maine, Angus King, who served as an independent. Former Congressman from Iowa, Jim Leach, a Republican. Former U.S. Senator from Georgia and our co-host for this gathering, Sam Nunn, a Democrat. Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Edward Perkins. Former U.S. Senator from Virginia and a former governor of Virginia, Chuck Robb, a Democrat. And the former governor of Texas, Mark White, a Democrat. The former governor of New Jersey and administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, Christie Todd Whitman, a Republican. Please join me in welcoming this panel to our campus. The common denominator of this group gathered here today is the demonstrated willingness to work together across party lines to help our country. In fact, many of us came to know each other in this bipartisan enterprise. For example, Senator Cohen and I co-chaired the Senate Intelligence Committee together for 4 years. And during that time, we are proud to say there was not a single party line vote taken in that committee. Senators Nunn and Cohen worked together in the reorganization of the Defense Department. Senator Danforth and I worked together on the Finance Committee on tax policy and entitlement reform. There are many, many other examples of members of this panel working together at the national, state, city, and local levels in a bipartisan fashion. We are here today because we are committed to a renewal of that kind of bipartisanship. We have come together. We have come together at a crucial moment These are not ordinary times. For the first time in history, polls tell us that a majority of Americans no longer believe that our future will be as great as our past. We must band together to reject that pessimism. We must reassert the can-do American spirit which embraces the future and all of its possibilities. Today we come together with hope and with determination. With a determination to stop politics as usual, which seeks to divide us for political gain. We come together to resurrect that kind of bipartisan statesmanship that united us as Americans to win the Cold War. We come together to appeal to all presidential candidates to tell us how they plan to bring us together. Today we say, hear our plea. Bring us together. Bring us together. Bring us together, and the American people will assure our future. History teaches us that bipartisanship is possible. It is not some romantic dream. It has a proven track record in our own political system, producing landmarks as the Marshall Plan, NATO, and the policy of containment of communism, which was sustained for more than 40 years through administrations of both political parties and through Congresses dominated by different political parties. Last night and this morning, we worked together to develop a joint statement of principles which we can embrace as a group. And I would now ask our co-host, Senator Sam Nunn, to come forward and read our joint statement. Senator Nunn.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, David. We've gone through probably 5 or 6 hours of discussion, debate, and drafting of this statement, which I will read on behalf of all of us that are gathered here. It reminds me very much of the days when I used to chair the Armed Services Committee, sitting around and looking at every word for sometimes hours and debating and discussing and getting everybody on board. The distinguishing factor here, though, is we always had a quorum. I used to spend an awful lot of my time as chairman waiting for a quorum. I think before I read the statement, I'd just like to say that I believe that David captured the spirit of optimism this group has. We do believe we have serious problems. We wouldn't be here if we didn't think the nation was facing serious problems, but neither would we be here if we didn't think that the American people can do something about it. So that's the spirit in which this statement is being made. Quoting from this group, the committee as a whole, America is in danger. Our ability to meet and solve the problems that face us is seriously compromised. National surveys reveal that an unprecedented 7 out of 10 citizens believe that life for their children will not be as good as their own. So we're heading in the wrong direction. We share this deep concern and frustration of the American people. Approval for the United States around the world has dropped to historically low levels, with only 1 out of 4 people approving of our country's actions, even in nations that are our longtime allies. We have eroded America's credibility and capacity to lead our urgent global and foreign policy issues, including terrorism, nuclear nonproliferation, climate change, and regional instabilities. Our budget and trade deficits are out of control. We're squandering our children's future. As we say in Georgia, we're eating our seed corn. The ominous transfer of our national wealth has made our economy vulnerable, and our economic strength and competitiveness are both declining. Middle-income Americans are struggling to keep their jobs and their homes and educate their children. We're not as secure as we should be. Our military is stretched thin, and our nation remains vulnerable to catastrophic terrorism. We're being held economically hostage because we have no energy policy worthy of its name. Our educational system is failing to prepare our children to succeed in a globalized and technological world.